One of the most common reasons for failing your GCSEs is, like, if I could go back in time and tell my past self to stop doing that, I would. And that, my friends, is what distinguishes a grade 9 student from the rest. So you're putting in all the work, doing practice papers, getting those study hours in, but you're still not receiving the grades that you want. You thought you did amazing in your mocks and you ended up being slapped in the face with a grade 3. You feel like all of your hard work is going to waste and you're not sure why. Let me tell you why in this video. Here is why you are failing your GCSEs. So before we get into this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as it really supports my channel. And this video is going to be a bit brutal, but it's kind of like tough love. It's what you need to hear. Obviously, you guys know that I want the best for you guys. I want you to pass your GCSEs. I want you to get amazing grades. Grab a cup of tea, settle down, get relaxed, and let's get straight into the video. So here's the first reason that you're failing your GCSEs. And a lot of people do this, and it's really, really bad. So you are highlighting your notes and you're calling that revision. That is not revision. Let me tell you now, if you're doing that as revision right now, please stop. Like, if I could go back in time and tell my past self to stop doing that, I would, because it's such a waste of time. You could be doing so many more things which are more effective and take less time than doing something that is not going to help you in the long run. One of the most common reasons for failing your GCSEs is passive revision. You think that you're doing something, you're spending hours going to the library, you're staying after school, but you're just wasting your time in the end because you're doing revision that won't help you. If you're relying on solely passive revision, you might as well not even do revision at that point. I know it sounds very brutal, but it's what you need to hear. Passive revision is basically when you do things such as rereading, highlighting, things that don't really activate your brain in any sort of way. I'm not saying that this isn't helpful for understanding and being able to summarize topics, but in the long run, this is not going to help you get those top grades in your GCSEs. There is no way you're going to memorize all of that content unless you have photographic memory, and that's really, really rare. So please don't rely on this. If you're wondering why you're spending so much time revising and having so little results, this is probably the reason. You really need to start making your revision methods active and stimulating. Even though it might be discomforting, you might not feel as confident afterwards, it's better to go through this pain now than for your exam. You need to be comfortable with not being comfortable and pushing your brain to get to where it needs to get, and you need to be willing to push yourself to see what you know. So it's all well and good to tell you not to do these stuff, but what can you do instead? So focus on active revision. Active revision are revision methods which are focused on retrieving things that are already in your brain and seeing what you know. This is the only way to get a grade 9 for sure, because you're basically stimulating your brain in the same way that is going to be in the exam, and you're also strengthening those networks that are needed to get good grades. Even if you get everything wrong, you getting things wrong is a step towards you knowing everything. That might not make sense right now, but every single time you get something wrong, it's telling your brain, I need to memorize this, I need to understand this. And then you can go further into that topic that you keep losing marks on, rather than just relying on the fact that you highlighted your notes. Like, that doesn't show what you're bad at, that doesn't show what you're good at, and it doesn't show what you should focus on. So active revision is always the best way. So by doing exam questions, despite not being 100% confident, this really helps your brain to work extra hard, and in the long run, it will help you a lot. Even if you don't know the answer to an exam question, please write the correct answer in a different pen. Writing this strengthens your brain, and it's also muscle memories. So it's really good to do that. The second reason you're failing your GCSEs is because you're not structuring your time well. You are not planning your revision sessions. You're just going in saying, I'm going to revise biology today, with no plan, no timetable, nothing. And that is such a waste of time. If you're wondering why you're losing so many hours in the day revising and nothing is coming out of it, you don't memorize anything, you don't understand anything, this is why. You need to plan your revision sessions effectively so you can cover a good amount of content and exam questions. And you also need to reevaluate the way you're spending your time. If you're not in exam season, the maximum you should be spending per day is 2 hours on revision, and that can even include homework. If you're spending a lot more than this, then there's a chance that you're not revising effectively. You can't just sit down one day and say, I'm going to revise biology in the afternoon. That is not going to be effective. You don't know what you're going to do. It's leaving too much room for distraction, for procrastination, and then you'll be looking for other things to do. You'll be like, I should probably tidy up my room today. I should probably go wash the dishes. I should probably go play that game that I've been wanting to play for the whole day. And not to say you can't do these stuff, but if you say you're going to revise biology, just revise biology, and then you'll be happy afterwards. If you want to have more time to do the things that you want to do, then you should be planning your revision session the day before, or at least the morning of. For example, if I look at my timetable and I see that biology is scheduled to be revised after school, then I'll be thinking, what do I need to do in this session? I'll look at my topic list that I made using this video, where I basically order the topics in order of difficulty, from the hardest being at the top to the easiest being at the bottom, and I would see which one needs the most help right now. I could either revise a topic from the past, or I can start to revise the topic that we're currently learning, especially if I find it difficult and I want to understand it better. I'm going to decide what I'm going to do in the session. So I have this topic, and depending on my confidence in that topic will determine what I'm going to do in this revision session. So if I don't remember majority of the content, I'm going to go do flashcards. There's no point of doing exam questions if you know nothing. Like, you're just going to be sitting there, all of the questions blank, wasting your time. So do flashcards if you don't really remember. Or if it's an essay-based subject, you can do blurting and then fill in the gaps, and then you can go on to exam questions. If I'm about 60% confident or more, then I'm gonna do exam questions. Ideally, I'd want to find these exam questions before the session so I don't waste time looking for it, because that leaves room for procrastination. If it was me, honestly, I'd end up on YouTube, TikTok, all of these things. So it's really better to get your resources out beforehand, and then you can jump straight into it when your revision session starts. So for biology, you guys know that I love physics and maths tutor, so you can definitely go on it, find the topic that you're struggling with, and then there will be exam questions on each part of the topic. So I really find it helpful. The main thing about these sessions is that you spend them in intense revision mode. Like, I'm not saying that you should be like no music, nothing, like you should be locked in a room with no windows, nothing. I'm just saying that if you're gonna spend 25 minutes revising, make sure all of those 25 minutes are spent in deep study. Don't go on TikTok like 10 minutes in, 15 minutes in. You're interrupting your session and you're less likely to be serious about what you're revising. So definitely use something called the Pomodoro method. This Pomodoro method basically splits sessions into 25-minute intervals and 5-minute breaks in between. After 4 25-minute intervals, then you can have a 30-minute break, so you can just refresh, walk around, do something else. When you're on your breaks, make sure you actually do something else, and this just helps to prevent burnout and prevents you from getting tired from studying. Obviously, you can change the time to suit you, because you will know when you get distracted, you will know how long you can last. Some people will last longer, some people might need a shorter time if they can't revise for long, and that's okay. Just do whatever benefits you. If you notice that you lose focus a lot, then it's better to use a stopwatch and then to stop when you can't revise anymore. This just prevents you from sitting there not doing anything, daydreaming. Like, you might as well just take a break if you're really tired. So let's move on to the third reason you're failing your GCSEs. This reason really hits home, but you are relying on motivation alone. If you rely on motivation alone, I'm just telling you now, it's gonna be hard, it's gonna be difficult, but I'm not gonna lie to you. The truth is, you're not always gonna be motivated, and I'm sure that you know that. I'm sure there's days that you wake up and you're like, I don't wanna revise today, I don't wanna get out of bed, I don't wanna go to school. But the thing is, you have to. Like, if you actually want to get good grades, you have to show up even when you're not feeling like it. Even me that got A stars in everything, I was not motivated majority of the time. I just woke up, I was like, okay, gonna have to do revision. It was like a no-brainer for me, because if you rely on motivation, then you'll never know your true potential. You'll never know how you would have done if you just put in those extra hours, if you just woke up a bit earlier, if you just stayed at school for a bit longer. And I feel like that's really disheartening, especially if you do actually get bad grades in your final exam. You'll just be wondering, oh, what if? So don't leave it to that, and actually revise based on discipline rather than motivation. Don't wait until you want to do something, just do it. For example, let's talk about brushing teeth. So the reason that we brush our teeth is mostly because we're disciplined to do so, because we do it so much. Like, we can't even imagine going out without brushing it, because we care about our health and our appearance. So do the same with studying. Even if it's gloomy, even if it's raining, you're tired, you're cold, just try to do something. Obviously, don't push yourself to your limits. Don't burn yourself out, but if you feel like you can do 10 minutes, try 10 minutes. If you feel like you can do 5 minutes, try 5 minutes. Set a time of 5 minutes, sit down, say you're only gonna do those 5 minutes and see what happens. You're probably not gonna want to do 5 minutes. You're probably gonna want to do longer, because once you get into that study mode, you're probably just gonna wanna finish whatever you're doing, and then you'll be much happier afterwards knowing that you did that rather than doing nothing. Eventually, you'll be able to build up to 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and even an hour. It should become second nature, and then you will study not because you want to, but you feel that you need to, because you want to get a good grade. You wanna make your parents proud, you wanna make your family proud, and you want to do the A-levels that you want to do. And that, my friends, is what distinguishes a grade 9 student from the rest. So before we go into the fourth reason why you may be failing your GCSEs, let's talk about today's sponsor, which is Skillshare. So I'd just like to thank Skillshare for sponsoring this video. If you don't know what Skillshare is, it's basically an online learning platform where there's classes on thousands of different things. There's editing, there's things on creative arts, and most importantly, there's so many good classes on studying and productivity. My favorite class has to be the How to Study by Ali Abdal, because it's just so good. Majority of the methods that I use in revision come from this class. It's evidence-based, and it just provides many methods, because not every method works for everyone, and This provides you with a bunch of different things you can do to learn content more effectively, and I would really recommend it. As I've said before, there's also many different classes you can watch, so be sure to try it out. The first 1,000 people to click the link in the description will get 1 month free trial of Skillshare, so be sure to check it out. Now let's get back into the video. So the fourth reason why you may be failing your GCSEs is because you don't understand the content, and if you don't understand the content, like, that's pretty much it. When it comes to the exam, you're just gonna be sitting there like, what does this even mean? A lot of the questions in GCSEs actually do rely on application. So this means that they rely on you knowing the content and being able to apply it to new situations. That's why sometimes when you go to an exam, you're thinking, we've never been taught this before. But the basis behind that question, you have been taught it before, you just don't know it. Understanding is the foundation of learning. Without understanding, it's so hard to memorize something. If you do memorize something without understanding it, it's like you don't even understand what it means. You're not going to be able to apply it to any of the questions, and it's just going to be something in your head that eventually goes away, because without understanding, it's really hard to retain something in your brain. Probably won't be able to answer 70% of the questions on the exam paper, and that's really limiting you. This is especially true when it comes to math. For example, let's talk about this biology question that we have here. It's about cancer, and in the biology specification, I don't think there's a really big topic on cancer. So you're thinking, we haven't been taught cancer before, why are they asking this question? But you actually have to read the question properly. So the question talks about that a person with cancer might feel tired, they might have frequent infections, they might have bleeding that doesn't stop. But the real question that is asking you is about blood cells. It's asking you about blood components, and you have been taught that before in the circulation topic. This question relies on your knowledge of different blood components, like for example, red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and what they do. If you don't know what these do, then it's going to be really, really hard to answer this question. You're going to be thinking, oh, I don't know that much about cancer, I'm not sure, and then you probably go off topic and not get any marks. So really look at what it's asking you and think about, what topic does this relate to? That's why a lot of people fail, is because they don't understand the content and they don't understand what the question is asking them. It leaves a lot of room for mistakes and misinterpretation. So it's really important that you practice and understand the content beforehand. And in maths, if you don't understand the concepts behind maths, worded questions get really, really hard, because you're wondering, where do I even start? What topic does this relate to? Does this involve trigonometry? Does this involve Pythagoras? And it's just really important that you understand the basics behind the topics. So how do you understand things in GCSEs? There are two basic methods. So the conventional one is to read your textbook, and obviously for majority of people, me included, the textbook was not good for understanding. I feel like the textbook just writes a lot of unnecessary stuff, and it gets you confused about what you need to know, what you don't need to know, and it's just really rambly. So my method is I watch videos. Videos, especially if you are a visual learner, are so good. Search the topic that you're struggling in, followed by GCSE, and then write it on YouTube, and a lot of videos will come up. It's a bonus if this video actually relates to your specification, because different specifications want slightly different things. Watch videos until you understand the topic. Even if you have to watch several videos, you have to scan the entire internet. Do it, because once you understand it, and that's good. The only thing that you need to do is continue to memorize it after that point. Animations especially help with biology because it shows processes that may be hard to understand through textbooks, so I definitely recommend watching animations for stuff like that. You can also search Google for summaries, because these are also really good. It's really nice to see something be explained in a different way compared to the way you've been taught, because it just helps you to understand it in a different way. Finally, the most important method is to be able to explain it to a 5-year-old. This is called the Feynman's technique, and I find this really, really helpful even now. It's basically, once you understand something to a point where you can summarize it and explain it to a child, then that means you fully understand it. It's a good sign to check on your knowledge. This is basically what you should aim for in all of the concepts that you learn, and it just makes you confident knowing that you actually understand it and you won't be scared for the exams. So now let's move to the fifth and final reason that you might be failing your GCSEs. Finally, you are not asking for help. And I know it might be really hard to ask for help. You might feel embarrassed, you might have too much pride, you might feel overconfident. Please drop all of that now, because if you do want a good grade, you have to humble yourself and you have to ask for help. Never think that you're too good, and never think that you're too dumb. Like, you're not dumb, you just haven't understood it yet, and that's okay. If you don't understand an exam question that you've done or a topic entirely, then it's a sign that you should go to your teacher. Definitely email them or talk to them after lessons so that you can see when they're free, and just sit with them and tell them everything that you're confused about. At the end of the day, most teachers do want the best for you, so don't be afraid or ashamed to ask for help. It really does help. It's better to ask for help now and be ashamed and embarrassed now than to be embarrassed in your exam and end up failing. Like, come on. Let's weigh up the pros and cons and go to our teachers. Obviously, do not interrupt a whole lesson for this. They're probably not going to be happy with you, and it's just really rude. Come with all of your questions prepared, so star them, write a little note next to them, and make sure you don't leave any question unturned. And if you do essay questions as exam practice, then definitely be sure to give them to your teacher, because no one can mark them better than your teacher. With your exam questions, especially English history, it's really hard to mark it according to the mark scheme. So build a nice relationship with your teacher and give it to them to mark. Ask for critical feedback and see how you can improve. Keep striving to improve your work and take the feedback on board so you can achieve your fullest potential. So that's it from me, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I really hope that you learn from any mistakes that you do that might have come up in this video. I hope you can improve your study methods to be more effective and get the grades that you deserve. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you guys next time. Bye.